how would you like to make your first million? And today we have Paul, the Chief Executive Officer of the World Printer. And Paul is responsible for an executive functions, assuring the growth of the corporation and the business that purchase a world printer. His decades of business experience span from B2B to B2C, retail, manufacturing, distribution, international business, and franchising. So, Paul, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, firstly, Harry, thank you for inviting me to talk with you and your audience.
Pleasure. Welcome.
My pleasure as well. I've been doing this, meaning entrepreneurship, flipping around back and forth between working for companies when I found that I didn't know something that I needed to know to run or operate or establish a business. So let's start with answering your question directly with the first thing you need to know is, do you have some type of a solution to a real problem? That you're not just trying to chase some kind of business and where there is no need for it, really. You need to know that there is a problem that you're solving. There's a gap in the audience that may be something very innovative. You may be the first kid on the block to do something. You may be just have the better mousetrap, so to speak. But sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel if there's a good wheel out there. And we just want to make sure that we're finding solutions to problems where there's a market need. Maybe a gap in the market. Maybe you can do something better, less expensive, more reliable than something that exists. But generally, somewhere, somehow, it has to solve some real problem. Second thing I would say is you have to be passionate about what it is you've decided to do. Passion is, I'd say, at least 50% of success. Knowing that you really believe in what you're doing, because you can't convince or really trust anybody else to trust you if you don't have the confidence in what you're doing. So I think that's extremely important. Hire the best people. That's the best people to do the jobs at hand. People ask me all the time, Paul, what do you count on as the reason why you're a good leader, if I'm going to consider myself one? And I said, well, I find that I hire the best people to do the jobs. I'm smart enough to do that, but I'm wise enough to back off and just let them do it. Micromanaging, as it's sometimes called, just gets in the way of progress and gets in the way of people feeling fulfilled in what their roles are. So you always want to make people achieve the maximum that they can and find the right path for themselves. That's their contribution to the overall business and their success as well as the company's success. The last thing, I'll put 3 things into the last 2 that, well, no, I'll give you 5. Okay, so the 4th one would be time, talent, and treasure. You have to have the time to do what you want to do. Entrepreneurs, you can fancy yourself as an entrepreneur because you've got great ideas, or you're working for somebody already and you're building your nest egg to do something else, but you've got to have the time to devote to this. You have to have the talent to be able to actually deliver on what it is that your idea is, or your product is, or your service is. And then you have to have the treasure. You have to have the funds. Those funds may come from you, they may come from somebody else. And funds can come in all sorts of environments. It might be just product that you have, or skill that you have if you're a programmer to be able to create an application. But you have to have that treasure. Time, talent, and treasure, I call it, the 3 T's. And the last thing is relationships. There's an old saying, be nice to the people on the way up, because they're the same people you're going to see on the way down. Building relationships, I think, has probably been the single most instrumental part of my success and my growth, just as a person as well as an entrepreneur. You want people around you, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, vendors, customers, people who you can rely on and they can know that they can rely on you. I've got relationships personally that are all of my 74 years from the time that I was born. And I've got friends from college, and these are people that I've relied on for advice, for funds sometimes, through the ups and downs that an entrepreneur must be prepared for. It is not anybody who tells you that your idea or your business is going to be the hockey stick that's going to go straight up. Nothing could be further from the truth. You're going to have hills, you're going to have valleys. Hopefully, you pick yourself up more times than you fall down.
Entrepreneurs find job when they want to learn something. What a powerful statement, Paul, you share with us, because this is actually, I did that personally myself. When I started my first business in property, we wanted to sell over 5 million. And I remember that when I arrived to London, I was in a bartender. I was working in a pub. This is what, when you go to London and the English is not good, you need to get whatever grabs. And then I was selling beers in that pub that at some point when they were paying me, the rate was $5.75 per hour. So imagine, so pounds. So when the bill come, I remember that the rent was 60-70% of my salary. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not going to work out. So after I started working so many hours, I said, you know what? I need to have my property business and I need to remove this overhead, the rent, otherwise I cannot make it. And then, Paul, I did exactly what you said. Yeah, I was an entrepreneur, but the time that I left the pub, I think that I acquired my first house with a loan from the bank. But I did something exactly like you described. I find a job in a Hilton. Because if I was thinking, well, if I want to be in the property business and I want to rent rooms, who better place to go and work there to learn things about how to rent rooms in the Hilton? And this is what I did. I worked in the Hilton for 2 years, and parallel I did build the property business at the same time, and I did learn a lot about renting rooms. So tell us a little bit more, Paul. Where do you, how you end up with that discovery? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they have this idea, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't go and work for anybody. I will figure out everything myself. Well, sometimes it's a very effective solution if you find a job where you can learn the skill that you can apply in your own business. I think that this is really powerful. You're getting paid, and on top of that, you're learning.
So I think my path might be different than many in that while I think of myself as creative and have lots of ideas, I wake up screaming in the middle of the night and write things down.
Me too. I'm creator as well, Paul. We both have the same boat. Welcome to the club.
But
we need more doers.
That's right. You never know when or where ideas come from, and you never know when you have a good one that you'll forget it 10 minutes later if you don't write it down generally. But my path for the last, I'd say, 3 decades, maybe longer than that, after doing a lot of, I've had businesses from a retail sporting goods store to service business, software development, various products that I represented for companies.
Wow, Paul.
It seems like a lot, but when you're 74 years old, it's stretched out over time. But one of the things that I found out early on is that the hats you like to wear. Know, just like I said earlier, know to hire the best people. Also know what you want to do and where you get your passion from. Mine was always the sales and marketing aspects. Not very good, I thought, with managing people. I didn't want to really tell other people or worry about whether they were doing their jobs or not. I was very independent. That's a carryover from, I think, the sports that I enjoyed growing up. I'm a tennis player and a swimmer. These are individual sports, not team sports. And I think that carried over into my professional life when I really just relied on myself in more of a sales marketing role. What happened was I worked for a company that had a hardware communications product. And again, I'm not going to bore your audience with the whole life of Paul Barron, but I will say that after developing a software application for a telephone product, which was very successful, I developed a reputation of being some sort of a communications expert in that industry, technically. And so there was a company, after I sold that company, there was a business that was just being formed in Atlanta, Georgia, by 27 graduates of Georgia Tech. That went to school together, and they developed this hardware product. And now they were ready to go to market, and they needed somebody to sell it and find out who the audience would be for this product. And so a headhunter found me and introduced me, and I liked what they were doing, and I joined their firm, and I helped them introduce to market and scale their product up to a point. Now, there was a Russian company that went along with what we were doing, and they went on their own path. Not only did they have the technology that the company I was representing had, but they had a lot more technology involved than just the straight communications. They were into navigation system, and they were into audio and video and all sorts of other really cool technologies at the time. And we traveled the same trade show circuit, where it's just like McDonald's and Burger King, or Pizza Hut and Domino's. We go to a trade show, and they'd be at one booth, I'd be at one right next to them or across the aisle from them. One time, but we became frenemies, so to speak. And politics aside these days, I'm not going to get involved in a political discussion, but I've found, and I've worked for companies throughout the world, people are wonderful. It's the governments that screw everything up, but people themselves are generally wonderful. And so at the end of the day, me and this group of Russian entrepreneurs also, we would get together and we'd have drinks, and the stereotype is that they can drink their vodka, and that's very true. So we'd have a couple of drinks, and one time I landed a big account with Motorola, and they said, Paul, you know, and I know that your technology is inferior to what we offer. How did you get that business? And I looked across the table, I looked them in the eye, and I said, very matter-of-factly, well, you're Russian and I'm not. And I didn't mean that disparaging or insulting. What I meant was American companies like to do business with Americans, people who speak their language, who understand the nuances, the sense of humor, as well as the technical jargon and everything else. That sometimes a company or a person from outside America might not come across in the same way that makes the audience comfortable. And that's no reflection on them being good people, good products. It's just the way things are. You know, you want to communicate with people. You know, you have an accent. I enjoy that. I listen to it. I'm sure I have an accent to you. And, you know, you pass those types of things when you have respect for people. But when doing business, sometimes these things have an impact. So let's fast forward a little bit. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and they asked me to come to work for them. I did. It was a wonderful relationship that lasted 12 years, from 1990 through about 2002, thereabouts. And I their technology, I laid at some big accounts with Apple, with Samsung, many other ones.
Wow.
Did very well for them, did very well for myself. It was a very good relationship. We still exchange Christmas cards every year. But it got to the point that I did everything I could for them, introducing their products into the United States. And now China was coming up on the world stage, and that was more in the same time zone as Moscow. So there was less need for me to represent them in the United States. They were now going on a bigger worldwide stage. So we broke off the relationship very amicably. But in the course of that relationship, I realized that I developed a new skill set. I was able to communicate the value of a foreign company's product to the American audience. And so, again, not to bore your audience too much, but from there, it went to a baby bottle, was manufactured in Austria to reach the use of new mothers and fathers in baby product stores in the US, retail and Walmarts and those kinds of stores. And then there was an Israeli of mine who was a client of mine in the past, developed a media board of communications, and they wanted me to introduce that into the United States. The baby bottle turned out to be a big winner. The Israeli technology turned out to be a real loser, and I told them that there were just better products on the market, and I really didn't think I could help them. Then there was a Chinese headband headphone for children. That was a pretty cool product. And then there was a dog wash from Australia. And I brought all these products to market. I did very well financially with pretty much all of them, except for the Israeli product, which I dropped very quickly. the entrepreneur in me wanted to own something. I didn't want to just be a salesman. So I stopped work. I sold the business, the one of a self-service dog wash that was manufactured in Australia. That business was sold to an American company that manufactured that product for me, and I exited that business. And at that time, I retired, and that was, I'd say, probably about 8 years ago. And so I was in my mid-60s. I was retired. I was comfortable, but I'm always looking at things, and things are always finding me. One day, a German company contacted me with a vertical printing machine, a wall printer, although they called it a vertical printer.
Wow.
It was the coolest
Sounds
thing.
amazing.
It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It printed artwork on walls, big murals, logos, signage, and a nice alternative to the traditional ways that you put artwork on walls, which is vinyl stickers, wallpaper, an artist hand painting something, hanging a framed picture. There are very few ways. That's really the 4 ways there are to put artwork on walls. So it's a market that has an audience because it doesn't have a lot of competition. So I really liked this product. It was very cool technology-wise, and I thought it was very innovative. I've never seen anything like it before. So we started a courtship, meaning that they learned about me, I learned about them. Did we want to do business together? So fast forward about a few months of going back and forth, they said, Paul, we'd like you to come on board. And I said, okay, how much do you want for your company? And so they said, no, Paul, we're not interested in selling the company. We want a salesman, but we'll give you a good commission. So, well, I don't do that anymore. If I see something and I like it, I want to own it. And so, or at least partner and have equity in it. And so the conversation broke down. That was it. They wanted a salesman. However, I hung up the phone with them, or the Zoom, whatever we had at the time. And now normally at this point, I usually call to my wife and I say, hey, honey, come take a look at this product. What do you think? Usually she doesn't, because she knows the entrepreneur in me. She doesn't come and look at what I'm talking about. Instead, she cuts up my credit cards and she changes all the passwords on my bank account, because she goes, here we go, Paul's going to invest in something nuts again.
Before you get excited, yeah.
So this time she came to my office at home and she took a look and she said, boy, that's really a cool product. Never saw anything like it before. Do you think you can do something with that? I said, yeah, I think so. Let me learn some more about it. Is it okay with you if I move forward? And so I got the wife's endorsement, and that's all I needed at the time. And so I did homework. I spent my homework. I found out, once again, the answer to the question. I think I'm a pretty normal consumer. If I see something and I can afford it and it's a solution to a problem I have, I'll buy it. If I for that and I can afford it and it's quality. But here was a product I'd never seen before. And so never heard about it. And so I decided to find out why not. And I did my homework and I found out that in addition to this German company that approached me, there were 4 other companies in the world that made this type of a machine. 2 were in China, 1 was in Australia, 1 was in India. I went through them all again. I'll spare your audience the long journey of my 1 year of exploring this solution, because sometimes it does take time to decide whether or not you're on the right path.
Yeah, especially if it's so unique, right?
Yeah, especially if it's unique and you haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So new. So I did my homework. I found out that the originator of the technology preceded that German product by about 10 years. And it was a Chinese company. And
wow.
I don't travel. I don't, if there's not a beach around, I don't like traveling to it. So I wasn't ready to go to China to check them out, but I have a company that works for me that goes to these places because I've represented products all around the world, and they go and they kick the tires, so to speak. They check it out to make sure it's not a company that's working out of their garage, that they can actually, if I want to sell hundreds or thousands of these products, I want to make sure that they can manufacture them, they can deliver.
Yeah.
So this company there, they did their survey and they checked all the right boxes. So then we began our courtship and learning about each other to see if we wanted to do business. And I proposed that they let me buy into the company and bring their product to the United States and to North America and to South America and to Mexico and to the Caribbean, all areas that they were not in. They were concentrating pretty much on Europe, a little bit in the Middle East, a little bit in Australia, but they had no desire to go to the Western Hemisphere. And so I said, I'll buy in and I'll do that if we can work it. And we did. So this relationship started in 2019, late 2019. And so I own the entire Western rights to this product. I've developed new products with them since then, not only this wall printer, but also a floor printer, which I helped develop, which prints artwork onto floors, like logos or designs for like a school logo on a basketball court, or a company's logo in the foyer of their building, whatever. But the wall printer is the primary product, mainly because there are more walls than floors in any room. So the wall printer is a much more popular product. We are now the world leader. I've sold 300 printers in the last few years to build this business.
That's a lot of printers.
It's a lot of printers, and that German
it doesn't
company
sound to me it's a small device. It's a big device, no? Is it heavy?
The printer is a $35,000 machine.
Wow.
It's not your $100 desktop printer. It's a commercial printing machine. That German product, by the way, and I believe, and my customers believe, it does not have the quality of our. But we are the world leader now. We've blown the company out of the market and any of the others that have entered the market. Mainly because of our training and our support, and the fact that we are the only company that's really based in the United States, offering training, support, manufacturing. We manufacture our own inks. We use a lot of American components in the machine. Some are still manufactured in China because I can't duplicate the kind of engineering that they can do with metal and steel here in the United States, where I would purchase something if I could, but I can't.
Well, probably you could duplicate it, but won't be cost effective. It will be more expensive.
Exactly right. For a fraction of the price. So anyway, we're in a very good position. We can grow. This building that I'm in, unfortunately, you see there's no artwork on the walls here because actually, Harry, of last week, we just moved into a new large warehouse because we're growing, and we haven't wall printed the wall. We haven't.
Now you need a warehouse to put the printings there.
Yeah, people come here to be trained. We offer training. We offer lifetime technical support to our customers because we believe in the reliability of our machines. Warranty, of course. We manufacture our own inks, and it's a wonderful business. Our customers are happy. We get a lot of referrals, but still, we get over 100 inquiries a day from our marketing, and our marketing is only social media. I don't go to trade shows. I don't do anything like that. We don't do direct mail.
Wow, yes.
All we do is social media.
Yes,
we do Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and we get about 100 inquiries every day. Now, granted, I don't want that. Most people us and say, "I've never seen anything like this before. Tell me more." So out of those 100 inquiries, 90 of them, they realize it's a $35,000 machine, not a $100 desktop printer, and they say, "No, that's not for me. No, I'm not looking for that." But 10 people out of the 100 every day, serious. They know it's a business.
Yeah. And also because it's the demonstrable products, they're gonna do very good in YouTube Shorts in this type of.
Well, just the same way, Harry, that we've introduced wall printing to the world, or at least to our part of the world, has been through social media. And that's the same marketing that we encourage our customers to do on their local level. We are the printers, they are the business. We're not a franchise. We don't reach into our customers' pockets and take money from them. We don't tell them who to market to or how to charge. We give guidance. We do have marketing programs that if they want us to do some things, we can do it. But we don't require them to do anything other than maintain their printers properly with the training we give them.
Yeah,
and buy more printers as they grow them.
Buy more printers and buy more ink. That's the business. So, Paul, there are tech entrepreneurs. 1 out of 5 millionaires that come to this podcast, they are tech entrepreneurs. But you have been also in businesses introducing products that, well, the print is kind of tech, but also bringing products to the market. And the thing that I'm facing, the valuations of the tech businesses at the moment is so high that we have more than ever tech multimillionaires entrepreneur, which back on the day when you were doing tech, I think that the business valuation was same like the other business. So somehow they take off, but to the point that we have missed the point or the most important. And sometimes when I coach in tech entrepreneurs, I said, look, this is a business. You need to make profit. You need to have the cash flow. You need to find clients. You need to do some marketing. You need to do some sales. They say, Harry, you don't understand. Tech is different. So they're thinking that they have a piece of paper, have an idea. They're gonna go to a venture capital. They're gonna give them money to develop the technology, and those days have passed. Those days that people could write you a check for 1 million with an idea for tech are gone. So you've been in both
Well, somebody,
frontiers, Paul.
people,
You've been in both frontiers,
entrepreneurs,
yeah, in both frontiers.
Harry, always say, I
Yes.
can't wait to make my first million. I can't wait to make the first million. I want a business that's going to scale and can't wait to make $1 million. Forget about that. Okay. If you're a true entrepreneur, or any type of a business person, to be honest, you don't want to make your first million. You want to owe your first million. If you owe $1 million, everybody makes sure that you can eat, you can have a car, you can have a house, that you can get to work and you can continue money to pay them back. Whether it's a loan or whether it's family, friends, or a bank or whatever, or your business. Making $1 million, that may come. But the important thing to really know if you should be in business yourself, you can't be afraid to owe $1 million. That's the key.
And then Paul, the difference, right, is that sometimes, like I said, you've been in both fronts, in the space and also in the other different businesses. How what are the biggest challenges, the similarities, and the difference between being a tech or be an entrepreneur that have another type of product is not relating with tech, because you have own businesses from both sides. So in just what are the difference?
Well, Harry, from a development side, the differences are very clear. If you're making a product, you have to have a lot of machinery. You have to be able to build a product reliably. You got to
go more overhead, right? But the programming software developers are also expensive back on the day, Paul, no? Now with AI, maybe cheaper, but back on the day, they used to be expensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, technology can from just an idea and programming, and then it can evolve into a technical hardware product. But for the most part, there's not only differences in the development of those products, but for me, and the reason why you correctly said, I've done everything from technology to retail to products, service businesses. I've owned restaurants, all sorts of things. For me, as I said early on, the hats I enjoy wearing are sales and marketing, dealing with people. That's what I like. So it didn't matter to me whether it was technology, whether it was a service business, whether it was a product-based business or a technology-based business. All I cared about is that it was something I could believe in, something where I determined that there was an audience who wanted it, and then let me loose and let me try to tell people about it and see if somebody wants to buy it at a fair price. And so that's the only that's the only similarity for me. But there are differences, of course, in the path that you need to take, whether you're doing a service business, a product-based business, a technology development business, all different paths, all different costs associated with it.
First time founders versus second time founders, Paul, we have it had come to our attention that you are and you're in the business, right? You're very focused in the product. You are in love with your product. You want this product to be the best one. You put a lot of money, time, and energy in developing that product. And then secondary, you will go and try to do some sales and marketing to see who's want to buy this wonderful product that you develop. Yeah, and that's why we have a huge failing in the entrepreneur journey in the first 1 or 2 years. We were sharing with you before the broadcast. However, second time founders, they have a different philosophy. They focus more in sales and marketing. They are more this time, money and energy, it goes to think what will be the sales and marketing strategy and talk to the market and show to the product that is not even developed yet, to say, hi guys, will you be able to, if I develop this product, like it, how much are you willing to pay? And after this feedback is get it, then you can develop in the product, and even in your own company now that you're describing, you even added new products. Yeah, there you used to be a wall painter, now you also have a wall printer, now you also a floor printer. Okay, because you know what your clients want, and you can offer attended products and services because you are a marketing and sales person. On the other hand, the out of the 500 millionaires that we interview here, no one had come yet to the podcast to say that they hate marketing and sales. All the opposite. They are a big lovers of marketing and sales. So people out there, they want to grow the business, they want to become a multimillionaire, they want to make money, they want to do well, but then when you talk to them, they are entrepreneurs, but they don't like marketing, they don't like sales, they don't want to talk about it, they want to pay somebody else, and they say that this is not their job. So what message do you have for those entrepreneurs, Paul?
The ones that want to do marketing and sales, or the ones that don't?
One that don't.
Get over it. I mean, if you don't market, first of all, let me say what the difference is between marketing and sales. Okay. People ask me that all the time. What's the difference between marketing and sales? Marketing is sales without a quota. That's basically it. You both in both areas of marketing or sales, you're introducing a product to somebody. But sales, you've got to make money. Marketing, you have to make awareness. And so if you can't make people aware of the product and then find out what they will pay for that product, what's the use of developing something that nobody's going to ever hear about? So whether or not that's some skill that you possess, need to outsource, you must have the ability to make people aware of what you're doing, and you must determine what the proper value is that somebody will pay for what it is you offer. So you can't have a business without sales and marketing. I don't care what it is. Even if you're a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever else, whether it's referrals, whether it's good service, whatever it is, that's marketing. And then, of course, the fair price that people can afford. It's just I won't say a necessary evil, because I love it, but it is necessary that you have the ability to make people aware of what you're doing, because that's also going to give you the feedback whether somebody wants to pay for something and whether you can sell it or not. So, for what I say to people who don't want to do marketing and sales, well, get somebody who will, because your business will not succeed without
it. Paul, somebody's in love with our conversation. I want to know more about the printers that you have, the floor printer, the wall printer. How find you how this process work?
Thank you for that. And again, I appreciate you inviting me here. I do these frequently, but I don't do them for a pitch. But then again, people see this. They can go to my website, thewallprinter.com. It'll take about 15 seconds on the website to see what these printers can do. And if it's something that somebody wants to learn more about, you can go and fill out the form on the contact page, and we'll send you information. We'll talk to you. We will invite you to come here and see us and see the printers, meet the people on my team that will train and support you if you're really serious about this particular business. But I also am very happy to have people just reach out and connect with me. As I said again early on in this conversation, it's all about relationships.
How they can connect with you? LinkedIn? Yeah, how?
LinkedIn, again, not an advertisement for LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is a good professional network, and you can find people that are either similar to you or have a background that includes something that you may want to learn more about. So if somebody wants to find me on LinkedIn, just look for Paul Barron. You'll find me. I don't have to give you the URL to do it. Just go to LinkedIn and look for Paul Barron and connect with me. If you want to have a conversation, always to chat with people. Listen, I may be 74 years old and I may have done a lot of stuff in my life, but I'm surrounded here in my business with people that are just out of college and others, and I learn more from the people that are around me than they learn from me. So wow. I'm always happy to talk to people. I'm always willing to learn. So don't hesitate to connect with me. And again, wherever you go, whatever you do, it's going to be about relationships at some point. So that's how you connect with me. That's how you connect with my business. Happy to talk.
Paul, what is the last message that you have for entrepreneurs, people, entrepreneurs that they want to start a business. They are thinking as a solution exactly what something that you become very good at, which is spotting products. I have a friend that every 3 months he's in China looking for products and bring them to United States and trying to find market for this, market for that, and he has a large portfolio of cars, you name it, all coming
Yeah, I mean
from
that's
China. So
yeah. I mean,
so
people do that all the
what
time.
yeah,
I
what
don't have a
advice do you
Chinese
have?
product because I have a Chinese product. I went to China and found something that was either less expensive or something. I found something that was what I thought a market need, that there was a real gap in the market for something, and this was a solution to it, and it turned out to be a product. If it happened to have been in Japan or Australia or Israel, place else, I would have gone there to buy it. But there are people who will go, and there's a lot to be made on Amazon, and by buying things for $2 and $5 and selling them for $10 and $20. There's a lot of money to be made in that. I never enjoyed that. There was nothing I ever tried to do. The company that I did represent at point, that was a Chinese headband headphone. That was a product that was purchased for dollars and then for a couple of dollars, and they made millions selling it on Amazon. And through licensing with Nickelodeon. That was a real winner for the company that did just. But that's as far as advice for an entrepreneur. That's you can definitely look for products that exist and see if you can introduce it either at a better price or it is actually a better product than what the market has. Ultimately, if you're going to do anything, whether it's selling something else or developing something brand new, you have to research the market first. There's no reason to waste any time at all if there's not a need for something in the market. So that's the first thing you have to do. You may have brilliant ideas. You may have the next greatest sneaker design, or whatever. These are all wonderful things, but unless you think that there's an audience for it and you can prove there's an audience for it, there's an expression in the world of entrepreneurship, MVP, minimal viable product. Whereas before you start spending hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars in development and hiring people and going through with an idea, just create it and find out who wants it. That's what you need to do first, and that can usually be done on a shoestring or with the time, talent, and treasure that you need to devote to something to determine whether that's a path you want to take.
Thank you so much, Paul. And with that note, that would be fantastic. That has been fantastic in this broadcast. And for all of you following this Unstoppable podcast, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneur like Paul break the wall and achieve the first million.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.